Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing well. The more I make videos, the more intimidated I am when I start making a video. In very short, about the philosophy of Hegel. For Hegel, the basics of being, the form of being, was consciousness. Not the individual self-consciousness of individuals, but consciousness was him, the being, the existence. And every other form of reality was a manifestation of consciousness. Consciousness was passing through different stages in its development, and the different stages in the history of humankind were actually a manifestation of these stages in the development of consciousness. It enriched itself in this way. Dialectics was a major characteristic of Hegel's philosophy. In dialectics, an idea is a thesis, and there is always antithesis, an idea that is contrary, opposite to the thesis. They come into contradiction, and in the end the antithesis is negated and a new idea comes out, which is the synthesis. It is not a completely new thing. It preserves the valuable good things from the previous two ideas. It carries them on together. That's why it is in a higher level than the thesis and antithesis. This synthesis is the new idea. It is the thesis. There is always an antithesis to this new idea. They again come into contradiction, and a new, even at a higher level, a synthesis appears which preserves the valuable elements from the two ideas. They come into contradiction, and a new synthesis is born. This is dialectics. That means that the development of the world does not go in a circle, staying at the same level, but it is a spiral and a helix. And because it is enriched, it preserves the new elements from the separate ideas, thesis and antithesis. So that's the dialectics of Hegel. It did not begin with him. Dialectics has been present in philosophy since ancient times, since Heraclitus, and it is very much present in Neoplatonism, Plotinus, and all the various Christian philosophies during the ages, the scholasticism, northern mysticism, and various others. Dialectics was always present. That's what Hegel talked about in his philosophy. And don't forget, his was an idealistic philosophy. The real reality, the being, was consciousness, was something ideal. And through this process, consciousness, by externalizing itself in the object, then assimilated this externalization and was enriched, and through separate stages it finally reached, or hoped to reach, the absolute. I know, to me it also sounds as gibberish. We should feel lucky that we are not studying this kind of philosophy at the present times, and we should thank Marx especially for that, because after Hegel's death, that was the widely accepted philosophy at that time. The intellectuals started criticizing, some of them accepting elements of Hegel's philosophy, some of them criticizing Hegel's philosophy, and I won't name the separate philosophers. Suffice it to say that Marx learned from them, and also he criticized many of them because he did not agree with their way of thinking. Marx did not agree with the idealism of Hegel, but he also criticized the vulgar materialism at his time, because this materialism stated that yes, there is the material world, the objects, and there is the contemplation by humans with their consciousness of these material things. And that was what the world was. But Marx said this is not all, and it's not correct to say that there is only the object and the contemplation of the object. He included in the material reality not only the material world, the material objects, and people and their consciousness, but also the relations between people. The practice is also part of the material reality, and it leads to development of human societies. Marx accepted Hegel's Dialectics, but because for him the reality wasn't ideal but material, he applied the Dialectics to the material world and talked about the materialist dialectics. And to him, society developed in a similar way as for Hegel, but not in an idealistic sphere, but it again developed by a dialectical method, which we will criticize that in a later video. I want to go back to Hegel and how he sees the society, the two spheres in society, one of which was the civic sphere, and that is the sphere where he called it the world of needs. That is where different egoisms are present, conflict between people, contradictions, inequality. That's the messy part of the existence of society. But for him, there existed another more idealistic sphere of society, and that was the political sphere, where everything was perfect. There was equality, political equality there, and this sphere of society overlooks the messy and the civic sphere of society, and the political sphere was guiding the development of society, and it was the sphere or the element that tried to manage the other sphere of society. Marx accepted the stating of those two spheres in society, but he said that the political sphere of society, which is the state, is not an entity that exists separately from the individuals which constitute the state, actually, but it is an organization of real individuals. And to Marx, the real existence of people constituted the civic society, because that's where life really happened, and that's what was more important. Because even if in the political sphere of society there is political equality, everybody can vote or everybody can be voted for, that doesn't mean that in the real life there is real equality. Even if the qualification of property, if that is done away with in order for somebody to be voted into office, that does not mean that really everybody can be voted into office, because in the civic sphere of society the relations between people exist, and there are people who have more influence on other people because some of the people have private property, the means of production, for example, so the rest of the people depend upon them for getting work and getting paid in order to live. So the ones that had influence and power in the civic sphere of society were the ones who got elected and got into the political sphere, and from there they were able to make laws and guide, control the rest of society. Also, as regards religion, the fact that the state declares freedom of religion, that does not mean that the bad effects of religion are abolished. What it means is that the state gets rid of all the conflicts and so on of religion, for example, different religions and so on. The state does not deal with that anymore. But the people themselves are still in the shackles of religion, in the civic sphere of society. What will be best, he said, is freedom from religion for all the people. Now, here I have to open a bracket and say that no, Marx did not talk about forcefully banning religion, for example. He only stated the important thing is that the fact that in the laws of a certain state it is said that there is freedom of religion, everybody can practice such a religion as he or she wants. This does not help the people, the real society, a lot, because people are still in the shackles of religion, and there is still conflicts between different religions and so on, even if it is not anymore in the state. It is not present in the political sphere of society. Same thing with private property. Even if there is a law, for example, that there is equality, everybody is politically equal to everybody else, this still does not mean equality in society itself between real existing individuals, because in the civic sphere of society there is private property, and that's why there is inequality. Some people, because of this private property, can exert influence upon other people and can exert control and so on upon other people. Something else connected with it is that the class that is the dominating class in the practical material sense is also the class that dominates the intellectual content, the ideas of a certain period of time. Bye for now.